Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Tushangi Gupta and this is part 1 of our 12-part video series of Word Power Made Easy. There are 47 sessions in this book which I have compiled into a 12-part video series, each part containing of 2 to 3 sessions. And if you complete these 12 parts, these 12 videos, you will be thorough with this book. Now without further ado, let us begin our first video. So this is part 1 and in this we will learn about how to talk about personality types. So basically we will learn about those words which will help us in building our vocabulary while talking about personality types. And along with that we will also use root words and etymology to understand those better. For example, our first root word today is ego. Now ego is a root word which has been taken from Latin language. It is a pronoun in the Latin language and which means I. जैसे हमारा English में pronoun होता है I, उसी तरह in Latin the pronoun for I is ego. Now ego in English language has been converted into a concept of oneself. Okay, I, which means I, me, myself. Now the concept of oneself, that has been termed as ego in English language. Ego, which was I pronoun in Latin language, but in English it is a concept of oneself, the idea of oneself, who you are, what you like, what you dislike, the whole concept, the whole idea of who you essentially are is ego. Now sometimes we misunderstand it with the term attitude, that he has a lot of attitude, he throws a lot of tantrums, he has a lot of ego. So that has come into the normal informal language which we speak, but essentially fundamentally the meaning of ego is the concept of oneself. Now if you have a high concept of yourself, if you have a very high regards, a high idea of yourself in your mind, you may have a more tendency towards throwing tantrums or having the attitude which we talk about. So this is the meaning of ego. Now egoist, someone who has a lot of ego is egoist. For example, I from ego, and ist is normally used in a lot of words, pianist, florist. So anyone who is a master of anything, we add the suffix ist to that word. Now I is the greatest concern in the egoist's mind. Someone who is full of himself, uska jo concept of oneself hai, has filled his mind, then that person is egoist because he is a master of the concept of oneself. Okay, that's how you can understand it. One who thinks only about oneself. So egoist people are mostly selfish, self-centered because they are only thinking about themselves. Their concept of themselves is so huge in their mind that they are unable to think about anyone else. So ego is someone who can only think about himself or herself. Now egotist. Now there is only a slight difference in the spelling. You can see there is a T added in egotist. If you add a T between ego and ist, it becomes egotist. Now what is the difference in meaning? I is the most overused word in the egotist vocabulary. Someone who thinks about himself is egoist, but someone who keeps talking about himself is egotist. Only one who talks only about oneself. So if I only keep talking about myself, that I like this, I don't like that, I like to go there, I bought a bungalow, I bought a car, I'm going to fly business class, I'm going to Dubai. You know, if I boast about myself, if I just keep talking about myself, my dreams, my aspirations, my family, then I will be called an egotist. Okay, so this is the difference. Egoist only thinks about oneself, whereas if we take it to the next stage of talking, then that person becomes egotist. Now if we increase the level of egoism, then that becomes egocentric. Considers oneself as the center of the universe. See, centric, egocentric. So you think you are the center, you are the center of the universe, centric. Okay, so you are at the center of the universe and the whole world is revolving around you. If you think like that, then you are egocentric. Okay. Noun, it can be used as a noun as well as an adjective. So as a noun, what an egocentric her roommate is. So here we are not using any noun after egocentric. So it is in itself is a noun. What an egocentric her roommate is. However, if I add a noun after it, he is the most egocentric person. Person is a noun, and egocentric is telling us about the quality of that person, then this becomes an adjective here. So it can be used both as a noun as well as an adjective. Now let's increase the level a bit higher. Egomaniac. If you have taken your egoism to a level where it has become a mania. And what is a mania? Mania is a morbid obsession. A mania is a morbid obsession. An obsession which has become so huge that it is dreaded. It has become kind of a disease. So egomaniac is someone who carries egoism to such an extreme that his needs, desires and interests have become a morbid obsession. So if you only think about yourself, you are an egoist. If you talk about yourself a lot, you are an egotist. If you think you are at the center of the universe, everyone's life is revolving around you, everything is happening for you, everyone must serve you, then you are an egocentric. You are at the center of the universe. And if you have become so much egocentric that it has become a mania, you just cannot stop thinking about yourself. It has become evil to a point of being threatening for others, then that is egomaniac. So as you can see in increasing order, egoist and egotist are obnoxious, which means they are toxic. Egocentric is intolerable. You cannot tolerate the company of such people. And then egomaniac, they are actually dangerous and slightly mad. Okay, so they actually need therapy or some medication to improve their condition. Okay, so these are the words which are formed from the root word ego. ठीक है, ego से हमने कितने words पढ़े? Ego in itself is an English word, then egoist, egotist, egocentric, egomaniac. And egomaniacal, al लगा के हम, al एक suffix है जो कि हम किसी भी noun में लगाकर उसको adjective में convert कर सकते हैं. And also egoism. So all these words we have learnt from the root word ego. Now let us move on to our next root word, which is alter. It is again from the Latin language, which means other. Ego means I and alter means other. Okay, so I, other. Now first word here is altruist, a person interested in the welfare of others. If I am interested only in myself, I am egoist, but if I am only interested in the welfare of others, then I am altruist. So if I help someone and I feel happy, if my source of happiness is helping others, being kind to others, then I am an altruist. Now for example, egoist, egoism. Similarly, altruist, altruism. The philosophy practiced by altruists, putting another's welfare above one's own. Okay, so I am putting myself over others, then that is egoism. But if I am putting others' welfare over mine, then I am altruist and I am following altruism. Okay, ism लगा के हम जैसे ist लगा के हम उस सब्जेक्ट के में किसी ने अगर मास्टरी कर ली हो या उसका कोई प्रोफेशन हो तो हम वो डिनोट करते हैं, और ism लगा के उस फिलोसफी को, उस आइडिया को, उस कॉन्सेप्ट को हम डिनोट करते हैं. सो द फिलोसफी प्रैक्टिस्ड बाय altruists इज altruism. नाउ altruistic is an adjective, actions that look towards the benefits of others. If I say his altruistic step towards helping orphans was commendable. So if somebody took a step towards helping somebody, then that step, then that act or that donation can be said altruistic. An altruistic donation, an altruistic contribution. Okay, it is an adjective, actions that look towards the benefit of others. So these three are of the same type. Now alternate. Alternate, it means skipping one and taking the other. For example, you play golf on alternate Saturdays, which means you skip one Saturday and you play on the other, then you skip one Saturday and you play on the other. So what you are doing, you are playing on the other Saturday, skipping one and taking the other. So alternate means skipping one and taking the other. Alternative, alternative, which means the other choice. If you have no alternative, you have no other choice. Okay, so alter, you can see यहाँ पे इन सब में ये root word आ रहा है, alternate, skipping one, taking the other. alternate Saturdays. Alternative, if you have no alternative, you have no other choice. Alteration means to make a change in something, making into something other. If you are changing something, you are altering its behavior, altering its properties. When you alter your plans, you make other plans. When you are changing something from one thing, it is turning into something other. So alteration, the process of turning into something other than it was, is alteration. Okay. Now if I just add a C here, after alteration I have added a C, then it becomes altercation. Now if you and I, we have different ideas, my ideas are other than your ideas, then we may have a dispute or a verbal dispute or disagreement. But if it increases in intensity, a verbal dispute more heated than quarrel, violent disagreement, if it becomes very much heated and the people are very short tempered and it has become violence has come into the picture, then that becomes altercation. If there is a small fight between two people, it will not be termed as altercation. Altercation is something which is more heated than a regular dispute or quarrel. It is violent, and why it has been caused? Because you have other plans, opinions or ideas. If two people are not agreeing to something and they have other ideas and they get into a quarrel, a violent disagreement, then that becomes altercation. Now next word is alter ego. It has combined the both of the root words which we have just learned. Alter means other and ego means I. So your other self, which means mirror image. For example, if I have a sister who is very much like me, okay, we have similar likes, dislikes, interests, behaviors, personality, we are very similar, then we can say that my sister is my alter ego. Matlab, she is just another me, other self of me. She is my mirror image. So alter ego means any person or anything which you consider an extension of yourself, a mirror image of yourself is alter ego, your other self. So we have learned all these words from altruist, altruism, altruistic, then alternate, alternative, alteration, altercation and alter ego. So all these around 8 words we have learnt from alter. Now our third root word for today is ascetes, which is from Greek. Alter and ego were from Latin. You need not remember that which language is the root word taken from. You only need to remember the meaning of it in English language. For example, ascetes is taken from Greek, and in Greek language it means monk or hermit. Okay, so ascetic. Spellings थोड़ी बहुत change हो जाती हैं. Spellings take their own shape and form when they are taken from other languages into English. So in English the spelling is ascetic. Okay. Person who leads an austere life like a monk does not pursue pleasures of the flesh. Basically, what does a monk do? A monk, their primary goal is spiritual advancement or liberation or moksha. They are not looking for the most luxurious clothes or home or traveling and all of that. They are looking towards spiritual advancement. So a person who leads such a life, who does not pursue pleasures of the flesh, they do not want the best food, best clothes and everything, they just want a simple living, high thinking life, then that person is ascetic. And this philosophy, as I said, ISM, when you add the suffix ISM, it becomes the philosophy, the practice of it. So asceticism is the practice of living an austere life, a life without human or bodily pleasures, a life of simple living, high thinking. So these 2 words have been taken from ascetes. Okay. Now our next root word is Warto, which has been taken from Latin. It is a verb which means to turn. To turn is Warto. Now there are 3 words which we are going to learn from this root word: introvert, and ambivert and extrovert. Now I have made a line over here because ambivert lie somewhere in the middle of extreme introvertism and extrovertism. So an extrovert is someone, okay, let's first go towards introverts. Introverts is inwards. Intro means inwards. So introvert means one whose thoughts are turned inwards. Where inwards? Inwards, in their mind, in their own headspace. If some person is very much into their own headspace, then what will they be like? They'll be shy, they'll be reserved, they would want to read a book or do something on their own, study, do some creative hobby. They may not want to interact a lot with the outer world, which means other people. They may not want to party a lot, go out a lot. They may want to stay at their home and be engaged with their own thoughts. Then that person is an introvert, because they are turned inwards. Their interests are turned inwards. They are happy in being in their own company and in their own headspace. Then extrovert. Extro means outwards. So any person who is turned outwards means they are social. They want to interact with the outer world, with other people. They want to know more people. They are very social and friendly and life of the party. Then those persons are called extrovert. One whose thoughts are turned outwards. Okay. Now ambivert means both. Ambi का मतलब होता है both. Ambi means both. Someone who has both tendencies. They are turned inwards, but also at the same time they are turned outwards. So sometimes you may feel that they are social, but they also need their alone time. Now most of the people fall in this bracket of ambivert, because no one is a complete idealistic introvert or absolute extrovert. So absolute introvert extrovert नहीं होता. If someone is absolute introvert or extrovert, then that person may be mad, because it's not normal. You are always in the bracket of, you have both tendencies. It could be 90-10 or 50-50 or 60-40, whatever, but most of the people are ambivert. So thoughts turned in both directions. Sometimes we want to interact with the outer world, but we also need some alone time. Now some people need less alone time, some people need more alone time, but most of the people are both introvert and extrovert, so they are called ambivert. Now let's see some of the root words which have been taken from Latin and French, which means right hand or left hand. Now in Latin, dexter means right hand. Okay, right hand is dexter and left hand is sinister. In French, right hand means droit and left hand is gauche. So basically, आप सबने देखा होगा, you must have observed in your own homes that we consider right-handed people to be normal and left-handed people to be awkward or not. It's not considered normal. If a child from childhood is been writing from left hand, then the parents are very much concerned and they try to convert that child into a right-handed person. Okay, so we consider writing, or we consider that right hand is the primary hand and left hand is the secondary hand. So however, this is not true. Whether we'll be right-handed or left-handed is as much genetic property as the color of our eyes. So but this is an age-old myth. It is a belief which is wrong, that right-handed people are normal and left-handed people are not normal, they are clumsy, and sometimes even to the point of considering them evil. In some cultures, people who were left-handed naturally were considered as clumsy or evil or not good, not very, not full of finesse, whereas right-handedness was considered as noble. So from that age-old belief, some of the words have been derived. How? We just learnt that ambi means both, right? So ambidextrous. Ambi means both and dexter is right hand. So dexterous means both right hands. What does it mean? It means that someone whose both hands can be called as right hands, which means both hands are primary hands. So someone who is able to use both hands with equal skill, both hands are right hands. Basically, if I am able to write with both hands equally well, I am able to eat with both hands, both of my hands are with equal skill. I have trained my left hand or my right hand to be equally skillful as the other, as my primary hand. So both hands have become primary hands. So that person is known as ambidextrous. However, you can notice that in the spelling, dexter, this E has been removed. It becomes dextrous. The E is not there. However, it's there in the other words. dexterity, dexterity. It's not in dexterous, but it's not there in ambidextrous. In ambidextrous we remove the E. Alright. Now the noun of this is ambidexterity, ability of using both hands with equal skill. The person who can do this is ambidextrous, and this ability of being able to use both hands is known as ambidexterity. Now there are other words also. Dexterous means skillful, okay, because right hand is considered more skillful than the left. So a person who is dexterous is skillful, and the noun is again dexterity, which is skill. So these are regarding right hand. Now regarding left hand, sinister is the Latin word for left hand, but in English the word for sinister is threatening or evil or dangerous. So if I say he had sinister motives, which means he had evil motives or dangerous motives, he was harmful. So this is the point of this is the level of that age old belief gone wrong, that we have considered left hand to be evil or dangerous or threatening in English. Okay. Now droit is the word for right hand in French. So again the same age old belief that someone who is adroit, if I add an A, adroit, then that person is skillful, just like dexterous. So dexterous and adroit are synonyms. Someone who is skillful, quick-witted, intelligent, then that person is adroit, and the noun is adroitness, which is the synonym of dexterity. Okay? Any skill, dexterity, adroitness, these are synonyms. And again the left hand, the word for left hand in French is gauche. In English the gauche means clumsy person, someone without finesse or tactless, who keeps dropping things, who cannot walk straight. Anyone who is clumsy, tactless and very all over the place, then that person, we call that person gauche. And the noun of it is gaucherie, which is the opposite of adroitness. So gaucherie is the antonym of adroitness or dexterity, right? And gauche is the antonym of dexterous. Now our next root word. Next root word is misogyn, which in Greek means to hate. Okay. And anthropos in Greek means mankind, human beings. So if I add these two root words, okay, mais and anthropos, anthrop, then what does it become? Misanthrop, which means someone who hates mankind, someone who hates human beings. And why would somebody hate human beings? If somebody has been wronged his entire life, people have been wrong, people have done wrong to him, been not good towards him, have I don't know, maybe he has had bad experiences with people in his life, and that person will start hating human beings. Okay, and that person would want that human beings should not reproduce, they should not increase their population so much because they are not good at all. Everyone is evil and people are not good, people should just die. Then that person is misanthrop. And the opposite is philanthropist. So phil is also a root word which means to love. Okay, misogyn का opposite है phil. So to hate and to love. So if I remove mis and if I add phil to anthropo, then it becomes philanthropist, which means someone who loves mankind, someone who loves human beings, does work for charity. Now if I contribute a lot of my income or money, if I donate a lot to some causes which help human beings overall, or if I am with some NGO, I have an NGO, then I will be called a philanthropist. Now mostly someone who does a lot of charity work is termed as philanthropist because it has been associated with that for so long. For example, we say Bill Gates is a philanthropist because he does a lot of charity work in his foundation. So misanthrop, misanthropist, philanthropist. Now anthropos. Anthropos means anything regarding human beings comes under this root word. So anthropology. Logy means the study of anything. Okay, biology, zoology, or any study of anything is the suffix is logy, which because logy means the study. So anthropology is the study of mankind. In anthropology we learn about human beings, their evolution, development of human race. So it has elements of everything, of sociology, biology, psychology. Anthropology is everything about human beings. You learn about their body, their mind, why they behave the way they behave, everything about human beings you study under anthropology. And someone who is a master of this, who studies anthropology, is called anthropologist. IST laga ke we have changed the meaning of the word. One who studies anthropology, anthropologist. Okay. Now, gynae is a Greek word which means woman, females. So gynecology, we just read that logy means study. So gynaecology means study of female disorders. If I am a doctor, I treat women, I treat female related disorders, which are mostly disorders related to the reproductive organs, because if I am specifying female disorders, then those are specifically reproductive disorders or hormonal disorders. So gynecology is a study of female disorders. And anyone who studies gynecology or is a medical specialist who treats female disorders is known as gynecologist. Now in this, from this root word we actually add an extra A here, Gynae, gynecology, gynecologist. Okay, we read about this root word misan, which means to hate, and we also read gynae. Right, now if we add miso with gynae, misogyny, the pronunciation changes a little bit. Misogyny, which means hatred towards women, and misogynist means a specialist in doing that, so someone who hates women. Now why would someone hate women? Maybe that person again may not have had good experience with females. Maybe his mother betrayed him, his or her mother was very rude to him in childhood, was not caring towards him or her, or maybe he has had a bad experiences with female friendships or in romantic relationships. Then that person may turn out to be a misogynist, and this quality, this hatred, the feeling of hatred towards women is misogyny. Okay, now we have learned that this MIS, wherever you see this word, it will be something negative. ठीक है, misunderstanding or hatred. So wherever you see this word, this prefix will always be negative. Now see gemos. Gemos is Greek word for marriage. Now we are adding. So you see how it has become like a game. You add some prefix, you subtract a suffix, then you add something other. You can play around with it. The best part about this book is that you learn how words are formed. And you can, if you remember one word, if I remember gynecology, so I remember that this has something to do with women. So when misogyny comes before my eyes, I will automatically understand that okay, this has something to do with women. And if I know that, for example, misogamy, even if I do not know the meaning of this, if I do not know, but I know that MIS means something negative or hatred, and I will know that this is hatred towards something, and I will mark the correct answer using elimination, right? So misogamy means hatred towards marriage. Gemos means marriage in Greek. Now someone who hates the institution of marriage, he may or may not hate men or women or romantic relationships in general or friendships in general, but that person hates the institution of marriage. They may or may not have live-in partners or romantic relationships, but they will not commit because they hate the institution of marriage, all the judicial proceedings or everything around it, around the institution of marriage. They do not like that. They want their freedom. They may or may not be loyal. We cannot challenge somebody's loyalty if someone hates the institution of marriage. So misogamy is just someone who hates this institution of marriage, and a person who does that is misogamist. So misogamy is that feeling of hatred towards marriage, the practice or the philosophy, and misogamist is the person who hates marriage. Now if I retain this word and I change this to mono, okay, so mono means one. Okay, mono means one. Monopoly, you must have heard monopoly, means when one person establishes their monopoly, it means in the market only that one person is there. They have established their domination in the market. So monogamy is the custom of only one marriage at a time. Mono means one, gamy means marriage, means one marriage. So the custom of one marriage at a time is monogamy, which we are practicing now. Bigamy means custom of two marriages. Bi means two. So two marriages. If there is a culture where two marriages are allowed, or it is a custom to have two marriages, then that is bigamy. Similarly, polygamy. Poly means many. Okay, polygon means a figure with many sides. So poly is many. Polygamy means many marriages. For example, the most popular example is Draupadi in women. See, polyandry. See, polygyny. Gyny means again female. So many females. It means many wives. A person who has many wives, or the practice of having many wives is polygyny, and the practice of having many husbands is polyandry. Now andros is the root word for men. Okay, men, women, gynae and andros. So many men means many husbands, which the example which I was giving, Draupadi, that is an example of polyandry. So from all these root words which you have just learnt, I have made a table over here, how we can play around with these root words. Okay, so anthropos plus logos. Anthropos means human beings and logos means study of human beings. The person is called anthropologist. The practice is called anthropology and the adjective is called anthropological. So as you can see, ist is used for noun. It is a noun suffix, the person. Practice is y, and when you have to convert a word into adjective, you add ic or ous or al. You add these suffix and it becomes adjective. So anthropologist, anthropology, anthropological. Phil means to love. And anthropos is human beings. So philanthropist is someone who loves human beings. Practice is philanthropy, adjective is philanthropic. You have added ic. Now Misogyn is to hate. Phil was to love. It is a positive, it means hate. Someone who hates human beings. Anthropos, human beings, mankind. Misanthropist or misanthrop. And the practice is misanthropy. Adjective is misanthropic. Now gynae is females, women. And logos again study. Logos, logi, okay, it's the same thing. It means study. So gynecologist is the person, gynecology is the practice, and gynecological is the adjective. Now we have taken this gynae and we have added Misogyn, which means hate, someone who hates women. Misogynist. The practice is misogyny and the adjective is misogynous or misogynistic. Then mono is one, bi is two, poly is many. Monogamos, one marriage. Monogamist, monogamy, monogamous. Bigamist, bigamy, bigamous. Polygamist, polygamy, polygamous. Okay, these are very easy. Then instead of marriage we will change it to gynae and andros, women and men. Poly means many women, which means many wives. Someone with many wives is polygynist. Practice is polygyny and adjective is polygynous. And many men means many husbands. Someone with many husbands is called polyandrist. The practice is polyandry and the adjective is polyandrous. So that is the session for today. We have learned a lot of words. I think we have covered 30 plus words in today's session. And the root words were, main of the root words were ego, alter, ascetes, monk. Warto means to turn. Then ambi means both. We read about dexter, sinister, adroit, gauche. Okay, it's very easy if you remember it like that. Dexter, sinister, adroit, gauche. You use your actual right hand and left hand to remember this thing. The dexter, sinister, adroit, gauche. So dexterous and adroit is skillful. Sinister and gauche are evil or clumsy. Then we read all these words which we did word play with Misogyn, anthropos, gynae, andros, gamos, mono, bi, poly, all these words we have covered. So that's it for today's session. I'll come up with the next video soon, part 2 of the series. Till then, take care, bye bye, thank you so much.